Hey, it's Time Enough podcast where we talk about episodes of the Twilight Zone and beyond eventually. This is Matt here. Andrew is with me today. Hello, Andrew.
Hey, what's up, man? It's another trip to the TZ.
Yo, yo. Okay. Um, I wonder if it should be like TTZ
I don't know.
because well, fourth season they take the off, but yeah, TTZ sounds like something that the hip kids would be into as well, right?
TTZ. Yeah, man, you ain't seen Twilight Zone till you seen it on TTZ.
There, see, that sounds good. So what are we on now? We're on the fifth broadcast episode. I think it was like the third filmed though,
I don't know.
because well, I did get that Twilight Zone companion, so it said it was the third filmed.
Cool.
But yeah, this is Walking Distance, which I guess is kind of at least if you go filming wise, it's kind of the first full tilt episode, I guess, where like nobody really talks smack about it.
Oh, okay. I mean, all I knew really about this one was that it's considered like one of the best, and I don't agree.
Okay, let's get to that because that'll be fun. But
Okay.
I will do a bit of the trivia on this one. So
Okay.
let's start with the music because Bernard Herrmann wrote the score for this one, as he did the fantastic but lesser known season one theme for the show. If his name doesn't ring a bell, we'll have Alfred Hitchcock beat you on the brow with a Vertigo themed baseball bat, and the
Oh,
credits
God.
just run on from there. Gig Young as Martin Sloan. He gigged in films like Come for the Cup and Teacher's Pet before garnering Best Supporting Actor nominations, finally winning one for They Shoot Horses, Don't They? in 1969. He was a fair shade older than Sloan's 36, as his birthday is 1913. Daddy Sloan is played by Frank Overton. He had plenty of TV work and returns to the Twilight Zone for another episode. His film resume is even more impressive and includes roles in To Kill a Mockingbird as the sheriff and as General Bogan in Fail Safe. This episode was directed by Robert Stevens. We encountered him before as he directed the pilot episode Where Is Everybody, but he did not return to direct any more Twilight Zones. That's it.
That's it.
Okay, that's it for me too. For the things
Okay.
I was going to say in
Wasn't
that.
wasn't Ron Howard in this? He's one of the kid. He's not. He doesn't play young
Oh, I didn't.
Sloan.
Yeah, I didn't catch that actually. So I didn't run across. Maybe no, the companion was written late enough to mention it. I don't remember, but you could be right. So
I don't know. It's just, there's little kids in it, and I think Ron Howard might have been one.
yeah, Ron Howard's always a kid until he's not, or
True.
or his brother who just is an alien from the start.
Oh man, I love Clint Howard so much. And I
But,
like Rance Howard.
which one is that?
I believe that's the dad.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with him. I bet he did westerns.
Hey, well,
I'm just guessing. That just sounds
if
like a
you've seen
western
Ed
name.
Wood, you've seen Rance Howard in one of his last roles.
Oh,
He was
okay.
the cowboy guy that put in money. I want a big explosion. No, he was
Okay.
the meat guy.
Oh,
He was the
meat. I
meat
was gonna say I caught it with cowboy, but maybe I didn't. So
No, he was the meat guy who got his, was it his nephew? He's not really bright.
all right. As for walking distance, can you narrate the narration?
Oh yeah. See, to do Rod Serling, you have to tuck your upper lip, dry out your teeth on the
Yeah.
top of your hand, and then you can do it. Martin Sloan, age 36, occupation vice president, ad agency in charge of media. This is not just a Sunday drive for Martin Sloan. He perhaps doesn't know it at the time, but it's an exodus. Somewhere up the road, he's looking for sanity. Somewhere up the ass, he finds something else.
All right. When you did your thing, people on video might be able to see it, but you looked a lot more like Jim Carrey.
Oh, well, the lip is a very subtle difference between Rod Serling and was Fire Marshal Bill.
Yeah, really. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the fire marshal Bill look I was getting there. So
And somewhere up the road, he'll find something else. Let me tell you something.
right, exactly. So I guess this is a kind of a dreamy episode. It's a little more sentimental than I guess the Twilight Zone is typically known for.
Well, but a lot of later episodes are like it though, and I feel like there's there it's done just as well or better later on. But I feel like this is the first one that gets, this is a, I don't know, kick the can, one like that, and next stop Willoughby, things like that, or you get those other ones too.
Willoughby
Oh
definitely
gosh,
came to mind when watching
yeah,
this one. So
yeah,
that one having a little bit of a darker streak as we'll find when we get to it. But
yeah,
I guess this gets back to what you were saying with the time element, where the time travel thing is pretty Mark Twain still.
yeah, and that is one of the things I like about it. It's low budget television, and we're not in the age of special effects yet, but that's kind of good because they don't have to create some device once again to explain the time travel. He literally just walks back in time.
It's
And
a
it's great.
walking distance. Yes, yes,
That's
as
right.
the titular name
Yeah.
says. One thing with this one is my music was first for the credit. I noticed on the Blu-ray this has like an isolated score, and yeah,
Mhm.
the music is extremely important, I think, to the vibes of this one.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. And probably the music's my favorite thing about it. I don't dislike walking distance. I just don't see why it's in such high regard. I mean, it's always in like the top 20 or top 10 episodes of Twilight Zone when they do lists and stuff. And I think this might have even been one of Serling's personal favorites.
Yeah, I think this one did hit me a little more as being a particularly good one. So it'll be interesting to spot the difference as the old highlight magazines had, right?
Okay. Okay.
Well, okay. One thing. So we have Martin Sloan who walks into his past. Um, I don't know. When's the last time you walked into your past? We grew up on the same street. When was the last time you were there?
Oh man. Uh
Or Baldino's. You can go with
I
Baldino's
was
if you
gonna
want.
say Baldino's sub sandwich place. There I've been within the last year or so. Because every time I go into Atlanta by myself or with a friend, I always make sure if we're going by it through lunchtime, we come through Baldino's because it's the best. When was the last time I was on our street? Um, I think I was on Google Earth last time I was on our street. It was
Okay,
through
same
Google Earth.
here. So
Yeah.
I'm just thinking maybe because I have disassociated myself from so many locations, that
Okay.
this one holds a little more water. The idea of not just walking back home, but walking back home then is,
Oh gosh. No, I
kind of
wouldn't
a
want to do that.
well. And as Daddy Sloan tells him, no, you don't want to do this.
Yeah, yeah. Oh gosh. Well, if we want to talk about what is it, Martin Sloan,
Marty
Marty
traveling through
Sloan,
time.
dude. Okay, if you if you're familiar with time travel movies, Martin Sloan does pretty much the opposite of all the things they try to tell you not to do in these time travels movies and stories. Don't interfere. And usually the person's doing their best to try not to interfere, and there's just some sort of thing that occurs on accident. No, he's like bound and determined to interfere. He runs toward everything. Hey,
Yeah, that's true. So, right. Like when he's just like, I have to tell you something, to the point where he like damages his former self and himself.
I was
And
gonna
then,
say he almost kills the young version of he almost kills young Marty Sloan, but I mean he rushes right. He doesn't even think, what is this gonna do? Or should I do this? He immediately, when he sees his younger self, boom, he's talking to people, he's interacting with everybody. He's he goes to talk to his own dad. I mean, Marty Sloan, I think's got problems.
well, yeah, of course he has problems. That's shown at the beginning of the episode.
Well,
Like,
Gig Young had problems too, and we can
yeah,
talk about that.
we'll get into that. But let's first do Marty, um
Okay.
because he's like kind of an absolute prick from the start. I wrote in my notes, when he shows up at the gas station, he's making the horn honk of an absolute prick. And I guess he's supposed to be like the burnout ad
Yeah,
agent
he
guy, but
is.
it's not an excuse to be a prick.
No, but you got to think that, Serling definitely had no love for ad people. And so they were the bane of his existence. And so, because what the advertisers said was the rule. They had creative control ultimately, and he could not stand that. And so, for him to make this guy an ad person and be a prick, I think is like totally, par for the course.
So why do you think he didn't go for disheveled writer, and then we'd get a more sympathetic figure, maybe?
Well, because we had to have a reason for him to be so manic, for him to be so impulsive, for him to be such a reactionary. Like, I think a writer would be much, let's just say it, smarter than than this.
Yeah, it takes him a real long time to figure out that he time traveled. Which,
Oh
to
my
be
god.
fair, he did not go through a machine or even like a tenant turnstile. He just walked somewhere. So
Yeah, and this is one of those things you run into with Twilight Zone, to where you're like, okay, does this seem telegraphed to me because Twilight Zone is just a thing and I know it and I'm ready for it? Or does the audience, like, the entire time and from early on, just know way more than he does?
yeah, he's a dullard. So one thing I'll give is I did find myself, because by the end of the episode, I guess you're supposed to be kind of identifying with him for some reason, but just the start gives you such a hard, like, no, don't get into this guy, which
Yeah.
maybe that is the conceit, like, leave this guy, watch his story, but leave him at a distance.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's that actually is pretty good. Yeah.
So maybe that was the thing, like, yeah, the story's a little whack, but it can be whack because this guy's not really all together.
Yeah. No. And I think just the average viewer would probably be not wanting him to do these things, but that's why it's suspenseful and why it's exciting, because who's gonna get the flashlight and go down the dark basement, take a step down and go, nope. We want to see the person lay into it, and this guy goes like in full run into things.
Now, one thing he does have in his favor, of course, his name's Marty as a kid, so we got to talk Back to the Future, where Marty McFly shows up in his life preserver, right?
Oh yeah.
Martin Sloan at least shows up in a suit that doesn't look entirely out of fashion, so he doesn't have that problem going for him.
No, no, and that's the thing about it. They don't make a big deal. People aren't suspecting him of anything. If they think he's anything, they think he's some kind of creep. I mean, he comes to his younger self. Hey, is that little boy over there? Can I go speak to him? Like, who the hell are you doing? I mean, like, think about now, if a guy showed up and started asking so much questions about a little boy, you just beat him up.
Does he want to get in my van?
Come on now, I got my white van here full of toys, candy.
I'm not sure if I've ever carved my name on anything.
Oh yeah, totally. No, I definitely would do my initials on stuff. Yeah, he was really not thinking it through. He was carving. This is the younger version of Martin. Little Marty was doing his entire name. But they're like, he's like, yeah, I remember that little place. I carved my. Wait a second. There I am carving my name.
What name are you carving, kid?
Your mom's. I just got away from her house.
Yeah. Getting back to the music, that one, it's an amusement park with just a merry-go-round, is it?
Carousel, yeah. Yeah.
I guess that's because of the budget. I don't know.
I mean, you get your one thing that figures into the plot. I mean, that carousel's got I mean, it's a main story point, you know.
Yeah, and it definitely that's where the music really kicks in, because when he's not close to it, you hear it in the distance, and kind of
Mhm.
warped when he's in, then it's in your face. And I was listening to something probably ambient on my iPad, and thinking, oh, this would have been a perfect sort of thing too. Just the not quite disturbing, but hazy carousel, I guess.
Yeah. No, it definitely kind of sets the tone. When he hops onto that carousel, like, oh God, look at this guy. Grown man on carousel.
I've been on a carousel. Of course, I had a daughter with me. That probably
I was
helped.
gonna
But
say so vibe, but I'm there with the kid, making sure they don't fall off. This dude's fully just looking for kids on he's ready to accost. Yeah, he really, and I think the only thing that shocked me was he really just had a nice, peaceful message to tell to himself. you never get the impression that's what he wants to do. Only later does he go, I only wanted to tell myself, enjoy being a kid, but I
And
was
that's
doing everything I could to make sure he couldn't.
yeah, I'm like, why is he giving that message so forcefully? Because really, he doesn't really need to give him that message.
No, no, not at all. And this is the thing. And what you just said was like a recurring thing when I watch this stuff. Is it like if you were a kid and some guy's going, hey, enjoy being a kid, like,
Sure, dude.
sit on this, grandpa.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, from the perspective of a 10-year-old, you can't, that message doesn't mean anything.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's anything yelled by an adult, especially an adult man, to a kid is just like,
Yeah, like he could have yelled it from a distance without trying to chase himself, I suppose.
or leave him a note.
Yeah,
Know?
yeah. No, he'd rip up the note. It's from the future. We
It
can't know
has
things about
it
the
has
future.
sports scores in it, so maybe don't rip it up.
See, I'm surprised Marty didn't do that. Just write down a bunch of sports stats and give it to the kid.
You're welcome.
Vice president of the ad agency, you're going to be the president.
Yeah, no, it's that would be a very short movie.
Yeah, yeah. So he makes every mistake of the time traveler, even the bad time traveler mistakes, where you give
Yeah.
yourself important information.
I
And not
know, and
just-
considering how short this is, it's just a to don't list for time travel.
I like that. That's kind of fun, but
No, it is. It is. I just, yeah, I don't see in it what everybody else sees in it because I don't like Martin Sloan. I think that may be the main thing. It's like the Twilight Zone often has a lot of these blowhard characters that, grow a heart or learn a valuable lesson as a result of some foolhardy errand that they take on. So that's a trope of Twilight Zone. But I liked how compact it is, but there's just I can't put myself in the mindset of someone who feels that this has a Twilight Zone style upending twist. Is the injury a
I was about
thing?
to say that the only twist, I guess, the main twist is at the
Is his
beginning
ankle.
where he's back in time, and the only
Right.
end episode twist would be, hey, he's got a limp now.
But that's the thing though. I'm looking for limp right when and I think this may be just because I've seen it so many times. I'm looking for him to because the kid gets hurt, and then he, while standing near the kid getting hurt, his younger self grabs his leg and like, ow, but he doesn't start limping right away.
Right. We don't get a nice wide shot of him walking either, though. It's like he has to get back to the present before Link shows up, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. But also the way it was shot, I think if he started limping right away, you would kind of get confused and think, well, he got hurt too.
Yeah. I don't,
So
yeah.
maybe that's why they did. I don't know. There's just, yeah, it isn't. I'm with you on the music, and I think Yu Young was probably cast very well for this. I just yeah, the stuff with him and his dad, I don't feel like it doesn't have a punch. There's nothing in here that really has the punch of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. Well, the dialogue is well written, but you are kind of thinking dad might be, I don't know, a little more sympathetic. Although maybe he's just like, picking up on the vibes that his son has become a bit of an arse. I don't know. Get out of here, dude. You suck.
Yeah, I just don't feel his dad tonally has the temperature of someone who's speaking to the future version of it, because he doesn't seem to want to know anything.
Yeah. So, we can throw Martin Sloan under the bus, but maybe what people really like about this is that just vibe of nostalgia. Again, like you say, Willoughby does it too, but this is the first time they really went into that.
It's true, and maybe that's
music.
why. Yeah, maybe that's why it's considered one of the best, is because it really is sort of a template episode. I mean, how many episodes does someone, find themselves in the past or in their own past?
I mean, what if you did walk down the street, found yourself in the street, and we were like making a whack movie on the front lawn? What would just watch? I mean, would you creepily watch from across the street, or?
It would be hard not to find a place where we couldn't be seen and sit there and watch it happening.
Right. So
because all of my memories of it are from what's on tape.
Exactly. So seeing the real thing would be kind of crazy. And yeah, actually, I'm trying. There's some points I want to make, but I'm going to be doing this. I don't quite record these in order, so I haven't. It's going to be another 3 days till I do the previous episode, the 16mm Shrine. So I'm trying to keep out talking
Yeah.
about like old pictures. I mean, you could talk about it. I'm not saying you should, but I'm personally trying not to bring that up because I know I'm going to be bringing it up in there, mostly likely.
No, I hear you, and that no, totally appropriate. No, I get it. No, but to go back, because people always say like, what would you say to your younger self? But I always think it in reverse. I always think of what would my younger self think of me now. Because
And
when
you
you're a kid, you're like,
suck.
damn, what am I gonna be like when I'm old? Am I gonna turn into some schlub? Am I still gonna like comics? Am I still gonna like horror? Am I still gonna like cool music? Am I still gonna play guitar? You think about those things. And so no, I'm pretty secure in that way. So I don't, but I also don't wish I was a kid. A lot of things about being a kid blow compared to now.
Oh yeah. Like I'm also wondering, just meeting myself 5 years ago. That guy was slightly skinnier. That was cool. The change didn't fall out of his change thing because it didn't have a hole in it yet. And he had a nice phone that wasn't cracked. Does he look like? And he wore suits more often. So I've kind of gotten slack wearing suits myself because I'm like, man, I'm on the floor with the little kids like 2 or 3 hours a day, and I can't be bummed with a suit for that so much,
Oh God, no. No, because I wasn't in therapy or on psychiatrically prescribed medications back then. So I would never want to go back then.
So you
Even
drive
5
yourself
years.
crazy, like both versions.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be less healthy. I don't know, man. I'm cool with the past, but if I were in Martin Sloan's situation, um I just wouldn't have that. I keep using the word manic. I wouldn't have that manic energy. I mean, he really thinks his best days are behind him. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
he's
got
like
to have,
he peaked at 12 apparently.
yeah. So because he's so jealous of his younger self, Martin Sloan really wants to screw everything up for the guy.
I mean, you try and make the next day the better day of your life, and then Martin doesn't have that perspective at all. I mean, he's not
No.
even going back to the present. I think he's kind of going to go off and be like a, middle-aged sad sack bastard.
Yeah, no, he'll be always motivated by this jealousy of his youth.
Right. So, yeah, I do like the episode, but yeah, I think maybe I don't like Martin so much. Did you want to say a bit more about Gig Young? Because I'm not so familiar.
Gig Young was a drunk, and Gig Young killed his wife and then killed himself.
Okay, I was going to say, was he a happy drunk? And that sounds like a no.
No, that was the end of Gig Young's life. Murder,
Right.
suicide.
Well, okay, I didn't catch that when I just saw his film credits. So sometimes
Yeah,
you look at the
sorry.
wiki and not the IMDb.
Yeah,
Well, you know what?
unfortunately.
That would have made some dark trivia when I was doing my trivia anyway, so it's probably okay.
Okay. Yeah, no, there's a Stephen King short story that was made into a movie, 1408. It was not one of the like bigger hit movies. I don't even remember who was in it. Maybe John Cusack, but it's about the guy staying in the room where the murder had taken place. So Stephen King was actually inspired by that, uh, by the Gig Young murder suicide, because it was a hotel room he was staying at in that building that someone mistakenly told him he was not in the right one, but someone mistakenly told him that was the one where the murder suicide of Gig Young happened. So he wrote 1408 as a result of that experience.
Oh, okay. Oh, he was in. I was going to say, if the book had like gotten it wrong, then that kind of
No.
Well, then they wouldn't have made a movie out of it. They'd been like,
No,
that's a
he wrote the
mistake.
book inspired by this mistaken, thinking that he was staying in that particular apartment where
It's the thought that counts.
and I don't even know if Gig Young's wife was like an actor or anything. I'm not exactly sure what her name was. That's really sad, but it's in Hollywood Babylon.
Right.
It's like my favorite books about movies are Hollywood Babylon 1 and 2. For some reason, they're the most twisted ones. I love those.
Oh, the other one thing I just wanted to throw off is when he gets back to good old 1955 at the end. That's fun.
Mhm.
I mean, I know it's really 59, but when he gets back into the soda shop at the end, and it's like totally back to it's Pleasant Hill, 1950 Valley, Pleasant, whatever it is, 1955 Hill Valley.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, what year am I in? Are there black people here? No, it's the same as where you were. Oh, good.
Yeah, really. But I did just, there's kind of a little reverse Back to the Future thing going on here, which entertained me.
Yeah, no, that's funny. I joke about the racism thing because that was one of the things that Twilight Zone, unfortunately, and Rod Serling, that's one of the things that sort of changed the old Twilight Zone episodes, is that, but it's also the times.
Yeah.
There just weren't a lot of black actors going out for roles and things like that. They
And
just weren't in the.
he did put, not put out, but he did push it a little bit later in this season by having an episode focusing on a boxer played by an African American actor. So,
And that is the Requiem for a Heavyweight. That's one
yeah.
of the best. See, for me, that's one of the absolute best.
So I he maybe did, maybe didn't notice that there was no diversity, and at least got that out.
Yeah, and I don't know. There'll be stuff in the Twilight Zone companion. Maybe I'm thinking of a different. Maybe I'm thinking of the Playhouse 90 thing. Now I've got the title wrong, but it's the boxer and his little boy are the main characters of that one. But yeah,
No,
I love that one.
Getting into the questions, who exactly went into the Twilight Zone in this one? That could be multiple choices.
Well, I mean, the obvious choice would be Martin, but gosh, I want to say it's either the old man in the back room that puts his hand on his head, and then as soon as the door closes, that would be the moment that he dies. or young Marty.
Yeah, I was gonna say young Marty definitely has a worse trip through this, because think of it from his experience. There's this crazy man chasing me, and all he wanted to do was give me this lame message.
Right, but as we know, when something happens to alter the past, it just creates an alternate reality. So the original Marty Sloan that would have had the life that led him up to eventually walking back to his old hometown, that guy went to the Twilight Zone.
Right. Oh, and came
So
out.
maybe that's my answer.
Okay.
The Marty that would have been had he not encountered his old self.
I was gonna say Daddy Sloan as well.
You
Certainly.
think so?
Yeah, because I mean, think of the episode from his perspective. Some crazy man comes to the door, he drops his wallet, you pick it up, and it's like your future son, and then you go talk to him and you tell him that message. I mean, you could have, maybe it would have been better if this episode was done from Daddy Sloan's perspective.
and Marty, what's a jackrabbit? What's a pocket rocket? What does this mean? Mint flavored for your pleasure.
Yeah. Anyway,
all these massage parlor coupons, Marty.
that could have been an 80s Twilight Zone in that case, but
I guess
so. Did he deserve his trip? We're throwing Marty under the bus over and over, so I guess he deserves whatever he got out of the Twilight Zone.
I mean, yeah, because he didn't think like at all. I mean, even when this was originally out, you have to imagine the audience was going like, dude, don't do that.
He's a go for broke, bullheaded ad exec. So
that's right.
That's what you do.
That's right. He goes in there blazing with a pack of Chuli's gum.
Right on. So let's put this one on the tripometer. From a 0 to a 5. You can make up numbers if you want. I don't care.
Oh man, this is bad because we do need to keep it in its proper historic perspective. I'm just gonna say 3.
That's exactly what I was thinking, with a little bit added because the music is pretty trippy.
Right. But I mean, 3, because it just never, it doesn't go there. You know what I mean? Everything is just so, I don't know. It's really low tech.
Like, I think I'm going to be disappointed when the theme song changes later on too, to the iconic one. I actually like the original one quite well.
No, it's cool. Yeah, it's and I made notice of that. I never, when I'm watching it like in the order and I'm actually paying attention, I always pick up on which one and where it changes, and when Rod Serling starts being on camera too in the beginnings.
Yeah.
But
This one's a little weird for having some mid episode narration, which is
yeah,
pretty not common. So
no, you kind of don't want to influence everybody in the middle of everything, you know.
right. But I don't know, maybe in this case, I was kind of wondering why he did that, because it's like, oh, I need to spell this out a little more or something. I'm not quite sure.
Ah, it's hard to put myself in the headspace of someone from back then, and also who, unless it's documented somewhere, who's to say whose decision that was?
And
You
once
know?
he starts appearing on camera, it would have been even more jarring, I suppose.
Oh God. Well, he didn't want to do it, and you watch his body language when he is on camera. On those things start. I
Right,
mean, he
right.
gets more comfortable as time goes on, and definitely by Night Gala, he was
He's
really
growing
in
out
the
his
character.
hippie hair a little more by that point. So
Yeah, that's true. It's much longer then.
so we got that going.
We do.
Okay, well, what do you have going on? Let's see, when is this? People are listening. It's the beginning of the year. Happy New Year.
Oh yeah, well, there would
It's
be my
actually
birthday on the 5th, where I turned 45 years old. So that's old.
so you can send
Uh,
my birthday note tomorrow, because I have this listed as January 3rd.
no, that's fine. I'll start taking that stuff early. I'll need it. Um, no, my friends and I here in Athens make movies. We're called Gonzorific, Gonzorific. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Face Space, and gonzorific.com. We'll get you to the YouTube channel and the DVD store and all of that. This year coming up, I'm planning to make a feature film. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I definitely have a team that I'm getting together to make a full length movie.
Right on. This is Time Enough Podcast. It's Time Enough Pod on Twitter, Time Enough Podcast on Facebook. Rate, review, all that stuff. Hopefully we are on Apple by now, because Apple's dragging their heels, but I want to hear what you say, so do that. I do other podcasts under the umbrella of Podcastius, where we talk about sci-fi movies, Monster Hunter, Pokemon, and thang like that. Is that not the way to say it?
Great.
Okay. I guess that's all for now. Let's all take a stroll back and do the past.